Hi everyone, this is Mal Noonheis. Let's talk a little bit of hickory. What I have in my hand here is a 100-plus-year-old hickory brass putter. And in my last video, I showed you this finished product of this putter and putting on whipping and a new leather grip and whipping. It turned out really nice. And so tonight, I'm going to show you my secrets of how you, if you wanted to restore brass putters in general or the old hickory brass putters. So I'll put this one down and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do on this brass putter. This is a 100-plus-year-old putter, and I'll have to put a new grip on it and all that stuff, and there'll be another video of it. But I wanted to show you how dinged up this thing really is. Look at that. Even on the face of the club, it's got gouges. I mean, this is pretty beat up. And, but hopefully this will turn out pretty good because I'm hoping it's going to look like the previous one I just showed you. So what I do is somewhere between a 5 to an 8-step process. Now, I've watched some YouTube videos on how to polish golf clubs, okay? Now, on one video, a guy was using what's called a sisal wheel, S-I-S-E-L, sisal. And I thought, well, I gotta have that. So I bought it on Amazon and got it, and it just didn't make the cut. It just doesn't do anything of what I'm looking for in restoring these dinged up brass putters. So what I do is I start out with a sander with this is an 80 coarse grit sandpaper. And I'll start out getting out as much of the dings and nicks and gouges without taking a ton off, but just enough to get it off. And then I'll go to like a 120 grit, a little bit, and then I'll go to a 220 grit. Then I may go to a 400 grit or a 600 grit. As I go along this process, I'll go to 1,000 grit or 1,500 grit. And then toward the end of the sanding part, I'll go to a 2,000 and then a 3,000 grit for the finished product, okay? Before I go to the buffing wheel and the polishing wheel to get that final finished look. Now that's the basic steps. Now it took me several months to figure out to do this by trial and error, and you know, you can skip a few steps depending on how damaged it is. If it's not too many dings, it goes a lot quicker. But it takes me, I don't know if I said this before, but this putter will probably take me an hour and a half, at least an hour. And so I'm not going to allow you to waste an hour and a half of your life watching this video. So I'm going to do it in segments, and hopefully you can tolerate this. So I welcome your suggestions. If you think there's a better way, or maybe you disagree with what I'm doing. I'm not a professional. I'm not an expert on stuff like this. This will be my second brass putter, hickory putter. I've done Acushnet putters, brass putters of the 60s and 70s, anything brass of a putter I've done. And so I've learned that process. And so let's get started. So it's gonna be a little noisy, but I just set it up here and get it started. I'm gonna hopefully, after a minute or so, I'll show you what it looks like at that point. Now it's important that you go the same, way, not just zigzag and all that, to kind of keep consistency of what you're doing. So as you can see, you can still see a little bit of ding here and there, but that's not a big deal. The main thing is to get these dings and nicks out. So I'm going to work on this one and see what it looks like after a minute or so doing this. So I worked on just where I showed you just previously, and you can see a lot of it's gone out, but there's still a lot on this hosel here. So the key to doing this is patience. So I'm gonna work on a little bit more and show you, and just so you see what an 80 grit sandpaper will do in taking out a lot of the nicks. So I'll work on the back side of this putter. All right, so now you can still see some of the dings and nicks, but it's taken out some. But in this kind of operation, it takes patience. So yeah, I mean it's getting better. So let's see. Let's try another section. Well, let's try the putter face, because this is pretty brutal. So I won't be able to get the gouges out so much, but let's just see what it looks like now. It's gonna take a while. As you can see, it's going to take a while to get the gouges out, and I may not try to get all of it out because then I'll be really cutting into the groove part. Unless I want to make it a smooth face, then I probably could. So, okay. So as you can see with an 80 grit, this is what I do to take out the initial dings and nicks. So I'll work on this part up here, and then we'll start on another segment after that. So yeah, I mean, this is, you see how gougey that is. So let's see how this turns out. All right. So this is step number one. Getting as much of the dings and nicks out as you can. As you can see, it doesn't look too bad. But they're still in there. You can see them. This club face, it's going to be a little bit of a problem. But patience. Patience is the key. So, and you might, if you can see closely, it, you know, it's not smooth, but it you might see little squiggly lines maybe or something, but that's not a problem, because in steps 4, 5, and 6, that's when you get the real smooth with a 3000 grit. So not to worry, but you know, it's take me about 10 minutes so far. So it's not going to take too long, but yeah, it's getting there. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care.